following material may contain sex, coarse language, and violence.
It was unpleasant. Unpleasant for all.
You also had your friend, his other friend was there, your one from work.
Yeah, Candace. Which is a freebie for them because when they got Destroyer, they took Candace as well.
Yes, and then slave one, get one free.
I mean, at least, I mean, she didn't have anything done to her. She was just left in a cage. They hadn't got round to any...
Oh, that's another one we haven't brought up. King Kamehameha's back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, someone tried to out-surf him. Not on a surfboard, though.
Well, I don't know how to use a surfboard. Also, who has a flying surfboard aside from King Kamehameha?
It didn't count if you made your...
I used my ice dust.
Did you turn it into the shape of a surfboard?
No.
No, that's the problem.
I think Victory still...
I don't think I would have... I was just trying to buy... He was trying to capture somebody, and I was just trying to buy them time so they could escape.
He didn't try capturing them.
Well, no.
He succeeded.
At the time he tried to. I'm talking about in the past context of the scene. Yeah, and then he succeeded, yes.
There's only one part of that team that has not been captured, as far as we're aware.
High in the winds riding, terror and razor waves he, mayhem of the beach.
And we were looking for him. He's an Atlantean.
Yeah, we did some night diving and all we found were Twinkies.
Triggering my Michael Stipe impression, no!
Not swimming.
Desert quiet night.
What?
Really? My God!
You did the setup and you didn't know.
Oh!
What?
From this day forward, it's going to be only America first.
Yeah, good luck with that in this 2021.
Never mind.
So you can tweet about it.
Don't worry about it. Don't get bent out of shape. I mean, either everything's going to end or it's not. That's always true every day. You're here in New Zealand where you've got your own problems to deal with. At least you're not in England.
Yep.
Yeah.
Holy shit. There's a country that just wants to stop existing.
Everything will be solved.
I mean, I realised they didn't have a lot of choice, but Boris Johnson?
I don't think we could run
Action
this game
Johnson?
over there. Everything will be solved if we just fire the All Blacks coach and get a new one.
You don't do that while you're winning.
You know what Boris Johnson reminds me of? It's like English Gary Busey.
Yeah.
You know,
I call him Action Johnson because
He's even
every
got that
photograph I see of him, he's
constantly
in mid-movement.
disheveled hair like Gary Busey.
Anyway, we were talking about how Soviet was blowing up the world.
No, that has been avoided.
I'm sure someone will bring it up.
He was here today.
Thomas will be like, how are you dealing with the guilt? Just really bluntly or something. I don't.
And beyond that, aside from what we've been doing as a group, been working at the nerd store and modelling now and then. That's pretty much it. I have located where the... Wait, are you aware there's a new newspaper made that... Yeah,
They weren't making papers regularly.
but I at least can feel better that I helped them get started thanks to Anthony.
I'm sure that makes up for the millions you killed.
But I found where they're located, and there was a mutant who was attacking them, and we're still trying to find out see if we can prove that the poster's behind it.
I mean, this hasn't been in the paper, but they have subsequently hired a mutant to guard the place, who was like super, like one of the resistance mutants, and they just got burnt to death.
Oh, the mutant did.
Yeah,
Okay.
that will be in the paper probably next.
God damn it, Tom.
You know, there are other fire mutants.
mittens. They just suck in comparison.
I don't see how it's my problem. I don't read that paper. I don't read any papers. They tend to start smouldering. Smouldering like my intensity.
It's not Dr. Bramstone.
He wishes. So do you.
Oh, but that's where.
I want a 20
Did
in
you tell
charisma.
Thomas about when we were
Blowing up the world's food?
attacking that
Just in the
mutant
back of my head.
who was attacking the Free Press, and they had the momentum? Did you tell them about that other
Steam engine.
person we met who
No.
was trying to help and got flung away?
That hasn't come up at all because you've just never been in the same area.
No, again, there's only so much I've told Thomas because, again,
There's a lot that's happened.
it's a lot that happened. So yeah, we're trying to take down a mutant that was trying to take out the newspaper, and this other mutant come along who looked very much like a video game as well.
Right.
She turned into a ball and then tried to attack him, but then when his momentum flung her across the city.
She succeeded in aiming his trajectory away from more people, though. It was a difficult fight to manage both that and taking him down. Although we have had worse.
You know, it's collateral damage and deaths have been less than they used to, which is good.
Yeah, I took down a bunch of cops that are just, if you see a cop with a snake pin, they're bad.
That snake pin.
Yeah,
They're linked to Hillary.
she's got her own personal army. Allegedly.
And they openly wear snake pins.
Yeah.
Hey, at least Nancy Pelosi didn't go to the Pentagon asking him to stage a military coup in my universe.
Yeah.
Only in my universe, though. She did it in the real world.
Nancy Pelosi can fuck off.
I don't understand why it's considered racist to want to punch Nancy Pelosi. Moving on. I believe you were experiencing guilt.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
It's probably us stuff that we've forgotten. But it has been quite a busy time.
Yeah, you've certainly been busier than I have.
You've been
Well,
busy,
it
it's
was,
just been less exciting.
Yeah. Well, it's been more hectic for them, right?
There was the Grundle. I mean, that was a while back.
Skipwalker canonically snorts at that. His rabbit, consumed with rabbit-like silent laughter, falls into the bean pot.
Oh,
Bean pot level goes...
but how are you immune to the heat?
That Grundle was a interesting thing too.
At least we were able to get to the
attaches
Grundle.
itself to children.
Yeah.
We got the children's Grundle.
This is somewhere between the shaft and the tank.
I don't know, ask the priest.
You did, didn't you?
Nothing on Magnus.
No, I
Magnificent.
think he's. What, is he still in South America or something, last I heard?
By now he will be in Asia, completing another one of his labors.
No, I haven't heard from him. I haven't heard from anyone.
The gamer looks off into the distance with 1,000 square stare. He has a feeling that while he is still surrounded by all of you, he is desperately isolated and alone.
I mean, if Thomas wants to roll to see that Soviet is deliberately avoiding any talk to do with the thing, he can.
these.
Give me a moment. You should roll your...
I probably should. I suppose it's kind of deception, but she's not very... Okay, I rolled low, so that's probably fitting. It's 15.
Oh, yeah, I think I have...
He has a 15 and looking through Soviets bullshit.
Yeah, I got a
Is
19.
it like gun listening?
Or listening.
Or listening.
Yeah.
Or whispering.
I'm a whole whisperer.
Sure.
That's actually
Miranda.
Yeah, that's how you get them in bed, right? You whisper sweet nothing into their ear. And...
Well, they like the sound of...
Funny.
The mating call.
Yeah, the mating call of the people. Anyway.
He's calling their people!
You're keeping something back.
What? No. I don't think... I mean, maybe I forgot something. Did I forget something?
Hot and cold collide. Wind of the gods sweep through us. None remain uncut.
How do you know about that?
You guys talk about it quite often in front of the guy. You keep forgetting his name.
Did I forget something, Xander?
I don't know.
You seem to be intentionally keeping something back.
Intentionally, I can't think of anything. So what would there be to hide?
It's the storm, isn't it?
Look.
I mean, to be fair, he does know about that. He was there.
I did try to stop it.
I know I've heard all the "it's not your fault, you were trying to help" speeches, but it's hard to ignore the fact that you're responsible for the death of over 3 million people, okay?
I agree. It's certainly hard to overlook how many people die as a result of your actions that have the best intentions.
Yes, and I realised that that's something you've also had to deal with.
Something I might say is that dwelling
Nick
on...
says thanks.
What?
I'm just gonna...
Is that dwelling on it the way you do isn't actually going to take it back, and it isn't going to help anyone, least of all you. You need to look forward, not backwards.
I'm trying not to dwell on it, but it just eats away in the background the whole time.
It's because you're trying to... It's because you're avoiding it, though, isn't it? It's not that you've accepted that it's happened and you're going to live your life in such a way that you can attempt to atone for it. It's that you're trying to pretend that nothing is your fault and you're not sure how to deal with it.
I'm trying to make up for it, but I don't know if I can... I don't know if I can make up for that many lives.
There's an idea in physics that... Have you ever played billiards, or pool, or snooker?
You kidding? She's an expert with the stick and balls.
No, I mean, I play chess.
You're familiar with how the game works, though, right?
You hit balls into the pockets. I know there's a certain order you've got to do it in.
But when you hit the balls, they don't bounce randomly. If you make the same shot with the same force, 1,000 times, exactly the same thing will happen. It's just objects interacting with each other.
Yeah, it's
No.
physics, right?
All things in the
Technically
universe
geometry, but...
are made of small particles that bounce off and interact with each other. So there's an idea that if you can predict the way all atoms in the universe are moving, you could predict the future. Which would mean that everything that is ever done was predetermined at the beginning of time. Now, it does no one any good to live their life in such a way that everything they did was predetermined and that nothing they do matters.
Especially since you're not even supposed to be alive now, which kind of shoots all this out the window.
And I think it's the same here. You can't live in such a way that you believe that nothing you do will ever make what you did right again. You just have to live the best you can and try to make things right.
I mean, it's at least comforting to know that there's something that I'm going to possibly do to help out, according to Rias. But
Professor Taraj. Remember when he was alive?
The rhythmic sound.
Remember when he was
Spoon
alive,
and a
Xander?
pop returns.
Haven't seen him yet. Don't know.
Rabbit's just sitting there like up on the shelf, just
you didn't have an Imperium coming.
like one ear's like
your
this shape, and
event,
one's going like.
so
This one will
No.
be slightly less
Although-
because he stopped stirring, was just listening the whole time Thomas was talking.
Although Xander is to be believed, if we defeated them, it would have been a problem further down the line anyway.
because well, that ties almost directly to your arrival, doesn't it? Because of course the
I
gene
sent
factor
Ultra Girl
bomb.
into space.
Yeah, that's basically when you at least showed up for us.
There were other changes made, saving my parents, for instance.
Yeah. But the gene factor bomb and then the Ultra Girl thing directly ties to their knowing of our existence, basically.
Well, that's another question then. How far can you project your actions you make without all the information to be your fault?
Yeah, I think I know what you mean. Like, people often blame themselves for things that have, like, 6 degrees of
Well, I directly
separation.
I directly send Ultra Girl into space, not knowing about the Imperium.
Yeah.
Do you think I would make that decision knowing
Yes,
about the Imperium?
I think you would.
You probably still would. You just say go left instead of right.
Go that way, stupid. Go past the sun, out the other end. Where presumably there is not an empire of crab people. Look like crabs, kiss like people.
Well, no, but I could give different directions. I could have her give the job to someone else, for instance. It's not as linear.
No, and
Right.
also, how do you know that doing it differently wouldn't result in something worse? Like, what if there was another race on the other side of the galaxy, if she went that way, who's even more powerful than the Imperium, and they want to come for us straight away? We'd already be dead. You never know.
Right, how do you know that icing the machine solved... It was strictly worse than having to let the problem resolve on its own? Because people were already dying and the heat wave wasn't going to end the moment we turned off the machine. So, while everyone says Global Storm Soviet is directly responsible, that doesn't necessarily factor in, and I've looked at the calculations, it was going to get hotter before the machine before the effects of the machine
we
stopped being
had to
realized.
stop it, or it was very close to, if I remember right, the projections were, if it kept doing this, it was going to be cooking the world in basically within 2 weeks.
No, but even if we turned off the machine, the temperature still increased for a short period of time. So you don't know that you actually saved more people this way.
The spirits foresaw the death of all things, and all things are not currently dead.
Can I ask you a brutally forward and straightforward question, Thomas?
Yeah.
Do you blame me for Tyler not being here?
No.
Okay, good. I know there was a little bit of... I don't know if that's how you felt, but it came across that way a little bit at the start.
Yeah. As I tried to relay in the letters I wrote, I am sorry. I really have failed all of you. I've continuously failed to see, especially the two of you, as the people you are, as opposed to what I could have had or my old friend. And that hasn't been fair or reasonable for either of you.
Well, people, act the way they do for reasons. Like you had your reasons for thinking that. You were focused on trying to accomplish your goals, right?
Right.
And when you're trying to accomplish something and it's suddenly taken away from you when you've made so much progress, it's natural to lash out and get angry.
Like when Soviet got angry and blew up the world.
Something I've been trying to come to terms with is my typical response to that would be, that's fine for other people, but not me. And I think something I have to deal with is I'm still just a human. At the end of the
There's
day.
another overweening arrogance implied in that. Are you just a human?
Until I get my galaxy brain and a giant robot body.
Well,
Like sus.
Incredibly dark green as sus.
Incredibly dark.
your plan that involved Tyler, did it work?
For us, no. But it worked for Xander.
It worked for Sam.
This is gonna be really confusing for you.
I know what he's talking about because we've had that discussion beforehand. I know when he's talking about Xander, he's talking about Universe Man because I brought it up 2 or 3 times saying, "Why don't you just call him by his name?" No.
That's fucking stupid.
I'm wondering
Cooler
if these ones are realize who he's talking about.
No, I just think he's talking about you. I think he's talking about you, but from his set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His timeline, his version. Yeah.
See, Harbinger interfered. So, Simon's plan didn't work. But, well, other Thomas Drakes haven't had to deal with Harbinger necessarily, so it's worked in other universes.
Okay. I was just wondering, it's like maybe instead of, I don't know how you're approaching this, but maybe instead of looking for a Tyler replacement to fit your plan, maybe you should be looking to adjust your plan.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's how you're already thinking of approaching it, but...
Yes, I think we have to be on the stave-off approach. And hope that
They've actually already made progress towards that.
and hope that the people who come after us can better deal with it. I mean, it wasn't Thomas Drake and Xander's dead timeline that stopped the Adamite Kings. It was Xander. Then Bevan and Tyler.
Question: Isn't there like Thomas Drake Deadshot? Hasn't he killed all the other Thomas Drakes?
No, he's working on it though.
Yeah.
And he's only leaving alive the ones who are not worth his time.
I kicked his ass, dude!
I mean, he let you win.
Right, okay, sure.
That is canonically what happened there.
Okay, sure.
Don't worry, you'll get a rematch. Maybe when you have an untwistable stomach.
I believe that was the fight I was on 11 damage in.
Also, you had help.
Only towards the end. Yeah. I soloed it with assistance.
In regards...
I mean, like, when you've got a healer sitting there just healing you, you still soloed the boss.
Yeah.
No one else helped that. They
It
just
was all my numbers.
they just kept you up for longer. That's an assist. It's
So in regards to the Edomite Kings, are we currently in a position where we're in a better position than you were we are, so they haven't advanced as much.
No. And interestingly, Cursed is at full power.
Because he consumed Dr. Goodman.
And the other curse.
Yeah. So, we're in a very different position.
Okay.
There's also the gene factor bomb didn't go off.
Yes.
And as much as things are usually hectic in the city, they were a lot worse when the gene factor bomb goes off.
Understandable. No virus in your timeline, though?
No. But because of the way... Well, the butterfly effect, I suppose, would be the simplest way to describe it, but just the way time spreads based on actions. I mean, there are a lot of things that have changed that could affect anything. And the virus does seem to be manufactured for an intention. So I think it's far more likely to come from the West than be naturally occurring in China.
That, of course, refers to only the one in this universe. The actual virus we're talking about from China was manufactured in a Chinese lab by Chinese. Got to be clear on these things. We're not a documentary. The
Apparently we are.
ridiculous expectation that my channel is a documentary channel has come up in a non-zero time.
If Fox don't have to report all the facts, why should we?
I mean, they still let CNN have a channel.
Yeah.
Because they follow the narrative.
And they don't even have the exemption from truth like Fox.
Yeah, Fox literally sued to be able to tell the truth. At least CNN could do the same thing. To be able to not tell the truth.
I figured.
Anyway, moving on.
So, what would you say, just to get your input, our biggest focus should be right now between all the big things that are happening?
Butts.
So you have Valen and Valeria on
With
the
Mr. X.
contact attempts. They're with Mr. X.
We can call them anytime we like. If you want to talk to them, we can call them now.
And
They don't sleep.
they don't sleep.
They don't need to.
How do you contact them?
By telephone.
You just
By telephone?
Just
They have their number. They also have a radio frequency.
I was going to say we can just
I
contact
can call them on the radios.
Might be good to check in.
Do you want to do it? Alone?
Sure, I mean, we might get along fine with Valen and Valeria. Hello, Valen or Valeria, are either of you there?
Yes.
Hello, it's Soviet here. As you can probably tell by the voice, we have an ally of ours who, by our standards, is incredibly smart.
We need to make this
And
distinction.
he knows a lot of stuff that might be helpful to you in some way.
I have already spoken
Vice
with
versa.
Xander Magruder.
No,
But
this
I
is
would be willing to do so again.
no, this is not Xander. This is somebody else.
Oh.
I'll put you through.
Nasty.
This is Valen or Valeria?
Well done.
I just had some questions regarding the process of actually contacting the person you're supposed to and the likelihood that it actually helps us.
The person we are attempting to contact would in fact be the Council of the Imperium, the non-militarized governing body as part of the Triumvirate.
Right.
The object is to convince them that this planet is too primitive and savage to undergo this kind of trial at this point. and to ask them to restrain the military arm from enacting their plan. The process of getting there will involve hiring a mercenary ship, which has been done and is on its way, and travelling there in persons and petitioning for an audience.
So it's something that you are doing for us. We can't actually assist you in this matter.
I do not believe so.
Just take Derek.
At
and they'll take
the
sandwiches.
point of a hearing, bringing evidence would be presumptuous.
And can
This is, of course, all based upon estimates of your planet's capabilities and development being erroneously based off of a prime exemplar as opposed to an aggregate.
right. Well,
It has a better than average chance of success.